welcome to the deep dive. If you're like most people right now, you might be fighting these two invisible enemies.
Mm-hmm.
That feeling of just being constantly overwhelmed and then the paralysis you get from overthinking every single possible next step. You just feel stuck.
Yeah, completely stuck.
So today we're diving deep into some really fascinating work that's designed specifically to break that cycle. It's Mel Robbins' Audible original, Take Control of Your Life, How to Silence Fear and Win the Mental Game.
And it's really important to say right up front, this isn't just, another inspirational talk.
Right.
The core idea, the thing that holds it all together is this. If any area of your life feels blocked or it just isn't working how you want, it's not because you're lazy or you don't have the skills.
Okay, so what is it then?
It's because fear is winning. Fear is either stopping you dead in your tracks or it's fueling these repetitive kind of destructive patterns that just keep you spinning your wheels.
And what I think makes this deep dive really powerful is the format she uses. It mixes her own personal story with these very real, very raw one-on-one coaching sessions.
Exactly.
And you, the listener, you get to hear people grappling with the exact same stuff you might be facing, imposter syndrome.
Oh, yeah.
That awful feeling of being trapped in the wrong job,
Yeah.
the paralyzing fear of change or rejection.
Right. You get to see your own patterns, but kind of safely through someone else's coaching session. There was this one review that really nailed it, saying it's like finally getting the owner's manual for all that self-help advice you've tried over the years but couldn't make stick.
Yeah, like an owner's manual.
Yeah.
I like that. We're not just collecting tips here, we're figuring out how to actually use them.
Make them work, yeah.
What strikes me, too, is how structural this paralysis feels. Like you said, it's not a moral failing. It's a basic error in thinking, and it's fueled by fear. Okay, so let's unpack the solutions. We've pulled out 4 really high-impact strategies from those coaching sessions. They're designed to turn the insights into, immediate action.
Let's do it.
Okay, first up, we absolutely have to start with the biggest barrier for so many people: overthinking.
The classic.
When we try to solve a huge life problem, maybe changing careers, starting a business, whatever, we instantly jump way ahead to the final picture.
Right, the whole finished thing.
And that mental leap, that's what creates the paralysis. It just freezes you.
Total overwhelm.
We see this so clearly in the example of Dan, remember him? The 36-year-old school teacher.
Oh, yeah, the wine lid guy.
Right. 10 years after having these big dreams, he's still just thinking. Sitting there thinking about opening his wine club or wine bar.
Because the fear kicks in, right?
Yeah.
And triggers this massive future casting and overthinking spiral.
Totally. How am I going to get funding? What if the location tanks?
Yeah.
How will I manage inventory? It's just too much.
And this is exactly where people make a critical mistake. They confuse the really complex task of, building a whole house.
Right. With the simple act of just laying one brick.
Precisely. Fear tells Dan he has to solve the entire puzzle right now, in his head, or else he's already failed.
He's trying to figure out the whole life plan before taking that very first step.
Yeah, and that's the structural error, really. Trying to see the destination crystal clear before you've even committed to taking the path.
So the antidote, this brick-by-brick idea, it sounds simple.
It is, kind of. It's about radical simplicity. You just focus on laying one little specific brick now. That's it.
One small thing.
One small, intentional unit of progress.
Okay, but let me push back a bit. If Dan makes, say, one phone call, isn't that still just a tiny drop in the bucket compared to opening a whole wine bar? How do we make sure that single brick is the right brick and not just, keeping busy? Busy work.
That's such a critical distinction. Thank you for asking that. It's not about being busy, it's about being intentional.
Okay.
That brick, it has to be focused on the very next immediate necessary action. The thing that actually moves you out of paralysis and into motion.
So for Dan, maybe the right brick is signing up for just one online business seminar.
Exactly. Or maybe blocking out 30 minutes just to research permits in his town. It needs to be small enough that the fear alarm doesn't go off.
Oh.
But specific enough that it genuinely contributes to the goal. It moves the needle, even if it's just a tiny bit.
Got it.
And the why this works is psychological. It's all about momentum.
Momentum.
These small, daily, deliberate actions, they build momentum. And momentum is like the single best antidote to fear-induced paralysis.
Right, so you stop trying to build the entire house in your head, which just feeds the anxiety.
Exactly, and you start focusing only on the 2 square inches of the brick you're laying right now. That gives you a little dopamine hit, a feeling that, hey, I can actually do this.
The feeling of control.
Efficacy.
That's the word. Efficacy. Okay, this next one. This is where it gets really interesting for me because it pushes back hard against that whole hustle culture we're swimming in.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
We operate with this like nervous, frantic energy,
Yeah.
right? And we confuse being busy with actually having control or making progress.
Guilty as charged.
Me too. I know I confuse frantically checking email with actually doing something important that feels productive, but often it's just noise.
Just spinning wheels.
So why do we do this? The source material suggests it's because that frantic energy is driven by this deep fear that we're never going to make it.
Right. Or falling behind.
Yeah. We're constantly trying to keep up with these impossible external pressures. You know, the influencers telling you to build an empire in 30 days or 90 days.
Yeah. That pressure.
And we end up just running on a treadmill, stressed out of our minds.
And that nervous racing, that stress energy, it's often cortisol fueled, right?
Yeah.
And it's just masquerading as productive action.
Masquerading.
Yeah. And the big problem with operating under high stress is that it actually causes cognitive tunneling. You can only focus on the immediate perceived threat. Long-term clarity, forget it.
So your goal just becomes survival, not actually achieving anything meaningful.
Pretty much. Survival mode. And the core insight here from the source is actually really powerful. You do have enough time.
Wait, really? It never feels like
I know.
Wait.
But the reason it doesn't feel like it is because you're constantly racing, you're braining energy on stuff that doesn't matter, you're perpetually on edge.
Okay, but practically.
Yeah.
Let's say someone's in a really high-demand job. How is slowing down even possible? Doesn't that just mean you'll fail or fall behind?
Yeah, it sounds completely counterintuitive, doesn't it? But slowing down is actually the only way to pivot effectively.
Wow.
You don't necessarily slow down by working fewer hours. You slow down by reducing that frantic internal energy.
The internal state?
Yes, and replacing it with intentional focus. You have to create some mental space, some stillness to actually be present where you are. That's where the clarity comes from. Okay.
When you deliberately slow down and focus only on the current brick remember strategy, #1,
Whoa.
you stop letting all the external noise dictate your pace.
You take back control of your speed.
Exactly. It's an intentional shift. You move from that cortisol-driven reactive state to a more thoughtful, prefrontal cortex-driven intentional state. And that shift is what gives you the clarity to see which intentional action, which next brick, actually needs laying.
So you trade nervous speed for deliberate speed.
Deliberate speed. That's a great way to put it.
This next strategy #3, oh man, it goes right to the core of our psychological defenses, doesn't it?
It really does.
Just think about how we talk about our dreams, our big goals. We often diminish them, right? We use these little protective phrases.
Like, don't laugh, but.
Exactly. Or, oh, it's just a little side project.
Right.
Or we bury it under a pile of excuses why it probably won't work.
Hedging our bets.
We do it because the second you actually courageously admit what you really want, you expose yourself.
Yeah. Risk of rejection, risk of failure. Right. If the dream stays small and hidden inside your head, it's safe. Nobody can judge it. It can't fail out loud.
Precisely. That self-diminishing talk, it's like a preemptive rejection shield. You reject yourself before anyone else gets the chance.
So what's the fix?
Well, the solution is simple to say, maybe harder to do. You have to courageously state what you want out loud without diminishing it, without apologizing for it.
Just own it.
Own it. And the material really stresses this point. If you feel embarrassed or vulnerable when you tell people your dream, that's actually a fantastic sign.
Really. Embarrassment is good.
Yes. It doesn't mean your dream is silly or wrong. It means you are genuinely stretching yourself outside your current comfort zone. And that stretching, it's absolutely essential for any real growth.
I remember that story in the source material about the host herself at an icebreaker. How she felt so liberated when she finally just owned her identity.
Yeah, saying she was a content creator making YouTube videos.
Right, without adding any buts or it's just a hobby, just stating it.
Yeah.
That ownership felt key.
It is key. It's the moment of commitment, really. Once you declare it, you activate accountability to yourself and, yeah, kind of to the world.
Okay.
You literally can't move forward. You can't make that intentional progress. You can't lay the right bricks if you can't even bring yourself to talk about what you're trying to build. By saying it out loud, clearly you shift the goal. It goes from being this vague, hypothetical thing you're defending to becoming a committed reality, something that now needs a plan. It needs action.
That makes a lot of sense. Once it's out there stated,
Yeah.
it becomes real in a new way.
Exactly.
Which then brings us to the next challenge, right? Because, okay, maybe you get the courage, you state the goal,
Yeah.
but then comes the, okay, now what?
Yeah, where do I even start?
Like, how do I find the right direction? And that leads perfectly into this whole common confusion around purpose and passion.
Yeah, this one tackles one of the biggest myths, I think, that we carry around from like childhood into adulthood. The idea of finding your passion. We treat it like some kind of magical treasure hunt.
Oh, totally. Like there's one specific thing out there for you.
Exactly. We believe if we just find this perfect, fixed person or place or job title, something outside ourselves, that this one discovery will suddenly just unlock everything. Happiness, purpose, control over our lives, poof.
Yeah, the magic bullet.
And that mindset is actually incredibly destructive. It creates enormous pressure and anxiety.
Because you're always searching, always feeling like you haven't found it yet.
Right. If you're waiting for it, the one perfect fixed passion to just appear fully formed, you're basically setting yourself up for failure, or at least for feeling like a failure. You'll spend years frozen, just waiting for that lightning bolt moment that's supposed to define your whole life.
So what's the alternative? If passion isn't a destination, what is it?
The material clarifies it beautifully. Passion is an energy.
An energy, not a thing.
Not a thing. It's an internal fuel source. You won't find it waiting at the end of some road.
Yeah.
You actually grow into the things that interest you through the process of exploring them.
Okay, so if it's an energy, how do we tap into it? How do we access it?
It starts inside with simple curiosity.
Curiosity.
Yeah. You focus on exploring the things that just energize you. What subjects do you love reading about? What kind of problems do you actually enjoy tackling? What makes you lose track of time? The goal isn't to lock down the perfect career title right this second. It's just to pursue the path, whatever it is, that's currently tugging at your heart, pulling you forward. That pursuit, done intentionally, that is the passion.
So it's much less about nailing down the perfect job description.
Way less.
And much more about prioritizing the actual process.
Yeah.
The learning, the growing, the doing.
Exactly right. This totally shifts the focus. You move away from all that anxiety about finding some predefined purpose, which is usually externally motivated anyway.
Right, what society expects or what looks good.
And you focus instead on the daily pursuit, the growth process itself. That's internally motivated. Passion gets defined by what you're learning, how you're stretching yourself, and how you're feeling along the way.
While you're laying those bricks.
While you're intentionally laying those bricks, it's the energy you bring to that process, not some finished architectural plan you found somewhere. It pulls all the control back into the present moment, into what you can actually do today. Hashtag tag outro.
Wow. This has been a really necessary and I think profound deep dive into taking back control. We've seen that real control, it seems, comes from interrupting those old fear-based patterns.
Yeah, recognizing them first.
And replacing them with these intentional, actionable strategies, things you can actually do.
Right, practical tools?
So just to recap, those 4 vital tools we talked about,
right,
the ones designed to break those unhelpful patterns. First, go brick by brick. That's how you conquer the overthinking paralysis.
And by one brick.
Second, don't speed up, slow down. That's about getting intentional clarity instead of frantic busyness.
Find that deliberate speed.
Third, you have to state it to create it, taking ownership, declaring your ambition.
Admit out loud.
And fourth, redefining purpose by understanding that passion is energy, not some static destination you have to find.
It's the pursuit.
These are all tools, as you said, that you can start using literally right now.
Absolutely. And, as we wrap up, let's just circle back for a second to the roots of these patterns we've been talking about.
Okay.
The source material often points out that these destructive behaviors, whether it's that manic, aimless energy of always being busy, or the total freeze up of the perfectionist, they are frequently these sort of maladaptive coping mechanisms that we learned often in childhood. And we've just kind of dragged them unconsciously into our adult lives, into how we pursue our goal.
Wow. Dragged from childhood. That hits home.
Right. So if achieving your goals really depends on finally recognizing and then replacing those old fear-based patterns with these healthy, intentional steps, well, it raises a really important question for you, the listener, to think about.
What's the question?
What is the one small, specific childhood pattern or coping mechanism? Maybe it's procrastination. Maybe it's people-pleasing. Maybe it's avoiding conflict that you are ready to finally recognize and consciously replace with a new intentional brick of action starting today.
That's powerful. recognizing the root of the fear.
Yeah,
That really does feel like the first step to taking genuine control back.
it often is.
We really encourage you to reflect on that question, identify that pattern, and then identify your first intentional brick to lay instead.
Yeah.
That's our time for this deep dive. Thanks for joining us.